Pokemon Legends Arceus has officially been data mined, and we have a ton of new items and new game mechanics we need to talk about. Let's get started. Hello everybody, Blaine here for Bridge4 Games. So yeah, it wasn't actually done by Kurt this time, but we do have a very, extensive data mine that has been done of Pokemon Legends Arceus, and they turned up a ton of information. We have all the items in the game, including some brand new Pokeballs. We have some new kind of mechanics for the game and kind of new statuses, new moves, just a ton of stuff we need to cover, and we're going to go ahead and cover that all right now. So I do just want to say, of course, this is going to be a major spoiler warning because there is more here than I thought when I originally got into this, and it's going to be talking about a lot of aspects of the game, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you can turn back now. I'll link ahead another video that is not spoilery right now, so please give that one a watch if you don't want to watch this one. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive right into all this data, but before I do, I just want to take a second to ask that if you like the videos we have here on the channel, please make sure that you like them by hitting the thumbs up button, and of course consider subscribing to the channel to become part of our amazing Pokemon community to make sure that you never miss any of the awesome videos like this one. Alright, let's start by taking a look at our brand new Pokeballs, because there are some that are different than we thought, and some of the ones we thought are not in the game at all. So let's take a look. Alright everybody, this is all of the Pokeballs that are going to be in the game. Now, I know you may be surprised because some are missing, but here is what we have. Let's just kind of start at the bottom and work our way up. I think that's probably the sanest way to do that here. So right at the bottom, in the bottom right hand corner, we have our normal Pokeball. Now, from what we can tell, all the Pokeballs in the game are going to be crafted by you. So we do know we need Tumblestone and we need a Apricorn to actually go ahead and create a base Pokeball. Now, we've seen that there are different rock colors all throughout the area. We have blue, we have some, black. All of those are going to be responsible for making different kinds of Pokeballs. Now, we have our Quick Balls and our Ultra Balls. I don't really need to explain to you guys what those are because, as long as you played Pokemon at some point in the last 20 some odd years, you should have a pretty good indication of what those do. But what you may not be so sure about is all the ones on top of that, because I thought I knew what these were and I was mistaken. So let's talk about what is clearly a Heavy Ball here. So on the right-hand side, two from the top, we see a basic Heavy Ball. Now, Heavy Balls in previous generations worked on Pokemon that were heavy. Spoiler, I think that makes a lot of sense. Things are different now. So, Heavy Balls in this game work very well on Pokemon that have not noticed you yet. So, if you're sneaking up on a Pokemon and you throw a Pokeball at it, the Heavy Ball is going to work better there. So, weight does not have anything to do with it in this game. It is only for sneaking up on a Pokemon and catching it that way. Now, the next ball is going to be the one that is to the left of that one, and it's a little more, it just looks a little more robust. It has the symbol on there. It just looks a little more heavy duty. That is called the Leaden Ball. So Leaden Ball is basically an upgraded version of the Heavy Ball. So if you want to think about the Heavy Ball as like a base Pokeball, a Leaden Ball is going to be the Great Ball equivalency of that. Now, the one up top that looks like the interrogation droid on, in Star Wars, that is going to be called a Gigaton Ball. Man, these names are going to take a little while to get used to. But a Gigaton Ball, again, is like the Ultra Ball equivalency of a Heavy Ball. So we have 3 tiers of Heavy Ball that are all going to get more useful when we're sneaking up on a Pokemon. Now, that's out of the way. I mean, I think you guys have a pretty good grasp on that. What in the ever-loving heck are these things that have wings on them? Well, I don't know which one is which, but I do know what they're called and what they do. So these are going to be kind of the opposite of Heavy Balls. The base form is going to be called a Feather Ball. Now, if I had to guess, I think it's the one all the way to the right, directly below the base Heavy Ball and above the base Pokeball. I'm not sure though, so if I am wrong on that, I really am sorry. But what this does, it's best for catching Pokemon that are fleeing, Pokemon that are nimble, or Pokemon that are in the air. So as we've seen, we do have a clip of a flying Gyarados that we've seen in the leaks. You can catch that much more easily with a Feather Ball because it is in the air, it is kind of flying away. Now, upgraded from that, we have the Wing Ball, which is going to, of course, be basically the Great Ball version of the Feather Ball. So, pretty simple. I mean, basically we have kind of 3 ideas of Pokeball, and then we have a Great and Ultra Ball version of that. And from the Wing Ball, we have the Jet Ball, which again is going to be like the Ultra Ball equivalency of that. So, very cool. I think it's neat that we have Pokeballs that are interacting with the way that we're seeing Pokemon now, because something like, for example, like a quick ball or like a fastball are sort of difficult to implement into the structure we have because things just kind of don't work the same way anymore. And I'm really happy to see they've taken some of the things we've had in the past and kind of expanded on it and given us new Pokeball altogether. Now, as you can see, we still have 2 Pokeballs left. In the top left, the current money is saying that's probably going to be the Cherish Ball. Now, again, we do know there are going to be some kind of events for this game in the future, and the Cherish Ball is likely going to be a returning feature, as we've seen before. It makes sense because it looks like it's almost carved out of like gemstones, so they have a way of making it fancy, but still retaining the primitive elements, if you will. And last but not least, everybody, we have the ball right there in the middle. Now, we don't know for sure, again, what that is, but there are some kind of indications that may give us a clue. Now, one thing I think is really interesting, we know that there is something called an origin ball in the game. Now, in the data mine, we saw this. It doesn't give us an indication of what it is because there's no description for it yet. However, let's try to use a little bit of common sense to figure out what this is. So, as we can see, it's a nice modern style Pokeball. And we know that the games are going to be getting Pokemon Home connectivity pretty soon. What I think is interesting is if you look at the color of the Pokeball, it matches the background color of Pokemon Home almost exactly. So my guess is going to be that the Pokemon we have that we transfer into the game from Pokemon Home are going to be in these kind of balls. Because none of the Pokemon caught outside of Pokemon Legends Arceus are going to have the, sort of latching Pokeball design. They would have more modern Pokeballs. So instead of changing that into, a different kind of Pokeball, they're probably just going to give it a generic Pokeball in the form of this Origin Ball when you transfer your Pokemon into Pokemon Legends Arceus. So, again, that part of it is not confirmed. Everything else is. But again, based on what we have, that seems to be the case. And I don't know why they wouldn't do it that way. So, obviously take this with a grain of salt. But we're pretty sure that's the direction things are heading in. Now, we know about all the Pokeballs. Let's talk about all the other items. So, as we can see, there's kind of a lot of straightforward stuff here because it looks like we have a revive. We have some of the... We don't have held items, I don't believe, in this game. We don't have abilities either. So, some of these things don't work, but I am seeing a couple items that are interesting because we do see a lot of berries. And, I'm also seeing an eject button here, so I don't really know how that works if we don't have held items. So that's something I'm very unclear on at this point, but I did just want to share this with you guys because it has been data mined. We do see that there are, several different kind of ribbon designs. We also see that there are all of the Arceus plates, one of which we're going to be talking about in a little bit because it is pretty mind-bogglingly interesting. But on top of that, we do see the Origin Balls here, and we do see a question mark kind of signifying that we don't know what that last item is. So I'm not really sure about that. Maybe it's like an Enigma thing like we had back in Gen 3. I'm not sure. But we also do see that there is a shiny charm and some other kind of charm in the game. So very cool there. Obviously it'll be awesome to start catching more shinies in the game. So, that's pretty much it. A lot of this seems like pretty standard fare. We do see the odd keystone though to get Spiritomb. So that's really cool. There is one in the game that we've seen, which is just massive, which is really interesting. So very cool. It's really cool to see what we have. The other interesting thing we have is this cable thing right in the middle. It kind of is next to the, like wheel-shaped thing there. It looks like an HDMI link cable kind of thing. We don't really know as of yet what that does, but again, it'll be cool to see when we do finally know. And once we have an answer on what some of these things do, we'll be sure to catch you up on it. And guys, if you recognize any of these, other than like, the berries and like the normal potions and stuff, drop me a message in the comments below. Let me know what you think they are so we can kind of start to hack away at this mystery a little bit. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the actual data mine content because there's a lot more there. Now, we don't have graphics for all of it. We just have the text. We are going to go through it together and kind of see what's in there because there's a lot of really interesting stuff. In the overworld, you're going to see these sort of mysterious like vortex areas. Now, I'm just going to play the clip. As you can see, there's like this dome of energy here. And when we jump in there, it's called a space-time distortion. Apparently, things work differently inside. So as we can see, a magneton popped up here. So in this space-time distortion area, it seems that we're going to be getting Pokemon that are anachronistic from where we are right now. So what do I mean by that? Well, obviously, if we look at the Pokemon available, Magneton does not make a lot of sense to be in Hisui. It is kind of a man-made Pokemon. You know, obviously, because of that, we wouldn't really see that in a feudal Japan type setting. The same is true with things like Porygon or, Rotom, because we do have the appliances for Rotom, but again, it does require technology to kind of become its, fullest self. And on top of that, things like Porygon require, cyberspace to actually get here. So, because of that, it's believed that these kind of special space-time distortions allow you to catch rare and unique Pokemon that are going to be kind of unique for the Hisui region. We're seeing Rhydons here. We've obviously seen those in the normal game, but it is very cool that they are actually doing this because it really kind of, I'm going to play it again. It kind of adds a new level to the game and kind of helps explain a lot of the questions people had so far. Now, on top of that, what I think is really cool, a lot of people are saying this may be actually a tool for shiny hunting, where if we're inside of the space-time distortion, we may have increased shiny odds or something like that. I don't have anything to confirm that as of yet, but a lot of people are currently crunching the numbers to see how accurate that is. So, I don't know, just something I wanted to bring to your attention, but again, that is a feature in the game, and it's something that we're going to be seeing when we do play through Pokemon Legends Arceus. So, if you want to get any of those kind of more man-made Pokemon, if you want the Porygons, the Magnetons, go into these areas and look around because you will probably find them. All right, everybody, so here we are in our paste bin of the, data mine content, and we can see that there are not held items necessarily, there are just some using items for Pokemon. So, we can see first up, there is something called the Adamant Crystal, or the Luster Globe, or the Greasiest Core. Now, when used on Dialga, Palkia, or Giratina, these large glowing gems well with power and allows the Pokemon to change forms. So, based on this, it seems like the Adamant Crystal and the Lustrous Globe are how Dialga, Palkia are going to be able to fuse with Arceus to become those very interesting forms we debuted yesterday on the channel. And the Greasiest Core is going to be something we use to change Giratina into its other form. Nothing all that unusual with Giratina. Obviously, it makes sense there'd be some kind of a key item to allow that fusion. We've had that since Gen 5. I don't think anybody's too surprised at that these days. But going on from there, we have something called the Blank Plate. Now, we actually have 2 new plates in the game, which nobody really knew about. And I think it's really interesting because the Blank Plate says it's a stone tablet imbued with the essence of normalcy. When used on a certain Pokemon, it allows that Pokemon to gain the power of the normal type. Now, I mean, I would have to assume this is Arceus, so I'm thinking because there's not held items, right? Once you catch Arceus, I think the plates are going to work like you use the plate on Arceus, it gains that type, and then you have to use a different plate to turn it back. So the reason we need the normal plate, even though Arceus is normal type, is to basically just change it back if it is another type already. So again, I admit that is a speculative kind of guess on my part here, but I can't really think of any other reason it would work that way. And based on the wording of what it has here, I'm going to assume that's probably the case, especially knowing what we know about held items. That's really all that makes sense. Now, on the complete opposite spectrum of that item, we have the Legend Plate, which is a stone tablet imbued with the essence of all creation. When used on a certain Pokemon, it allows that Pokemon to gain the power of every type there is. So, look, I don't know. I mean, that's very interesting. I don't know what would happen, like, if you were to face somebody else that has an Arceus with all the types, I don't know what happens if they use Judgment on you. I would imagine it's still gonna... I don't know, I'll have to look into that, but I don't think that's going to necessarily happen. I imagine because if you give Arceus all the types, right, you're only going to be facing 1 or 2 type Pokemon in the game, really, like, proper. So I don't think it would actually cause that much of an issue other than it being really overpowered. So I think that's really interesting that they went in that direction. Look, I think it's cool. If Arceus can get a little more pizzazz and look really cool, I'm all for it. I think that'd really be cool. And then from there we have the Origin Ore. We don't know what that does. It doesn't say anything. So, shrug. But from there we have our consumable items. So we have Secret Medicine, which is an astonishing medicine that can instantly restore health to any Pokemon. It is produced by an apothecary in Cyanwood City. Very interesting. And then we have our Twice Spiced Radish. These pickled vegetables prime a Pokemon for battle. The Pokemon takes a hard-hitting stance, which boosts the power of the Pokemon moves by 50%. So the Twice Spiced Radish is kind of like a choice item for one battle, I'm guessing, which is pretty dang useful. I think that's pretty darn good. And then we have here the Swap Snack, which says when eaten, this curious snack temporarily swaps the Pokemon's offensive stats with its defensive stats. Now, that's interesting. Dude, Shuckle, man. Code Red, get out of the way, man. Shuckle's coming. But, there's a lot of Pokemon that can take advantage of this. Even something simple like a Goodra, right? Goodra has a ton of, special defense investment. So, being able to swap that with one of the attack stats would be really interesting. So, I don't know. I think it's neat. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know, like, the most busted ways to use it yet. Because, if you do take a Pokemon with high defenses and make them its offenses, suddenly it's not very defensive at all. But again, could be interesting, something fun to play around with. And we have our Choice Dumpling here. It's a dumpling that will make your Pokemon become fixated on a move in battle. The Pokemon will deal more damage when using that move, but it will take more damage as well. So again, another choice item, this time a literal consumable. It's a dumpling, but pretty interesting. They have a way of incorporating choice mechanics when you're not actually allowed to hold items. I think that's very interesting. So from there we have our Pokeballs, which we talked about already. So that's all as far as the items within the game. From there, I just want to go ahead and talk about really some of the mechanics and some of the new features in the game. As we can see, there are new status conditions in the game. So the new one, we have Obscured, which is the Pokemon is concealed in the mud or the like, raising a chance that the Pokemon will evade the opponent's moves. Okay, so we don't know how you would do that, but again, you can become Obscured and become more evasive, which is pretty cool. Primed is the Pokemon has adopted a hard-hitting stance, increasing the damage it deals with its moves. I don't know how you switch into Primed as of yet. I imagine we're going to learn it as soon as we get the game, but that is one of the status conditions. I don't know. I don't think you'd ever want to inflict that on your opponent, so I imagine that's probably a status you have to give to yourself, which is potentially cool, because if you can only have one status like normal, you couldn't become, like Frostbitten or Drowsy or something like that. So I don't know, it's interesting. Fixated, the Pokemon is fixated on the last move it used. This move will deal increased damage while the fixation lasts, but any damage dealt to the fixated Pokemon is also increased. Okay, so again, it kind of becomes like a rollout, but also you take more damage. And I find that interesting that any Pokemon can use the same move over and over again. So if you get like a Garchomp, you can just spam Earthquakes if you're fixated. We don't, again, know how to make yourself fixated, but if you can get like that, that's really interesting. Frostbite here. At the end of each turn, the Pokemon is hurt by its Frostbite. Any damage it deals with special moves will also be reduced. So we now have a special reducing Burn. Now, Burn obviously has always worked for physical attacks, cuts them in half. That we're now getting the same type of thing for special attacks. Competitively, if they decide to keep this, it would be huge, because right now, Burn is one of the best statuses because it affects physical attacks, and there has never been something like that for special attacks until now. So I think this is incredible. I think it's really awesome, and I'm very eager to see if they decide to keep this after Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, from there, we do see Drowsy. We don't see Sleep, but we do see Drowsy, which is interesting. The Pokemon is drowsy and may fail to act, so its damage is also any damage it takes is also increased. So it doesn't say it's going to fall to sleep, it just says it may fail to act. So I don't know if sleep is still in the game. We have seen, I believe, sleep powders, so it should be. So drowsy does not mean the same thing it always has before. It just now means that you are drowsy and may fail to act, so which is kind of interesting. Weather conditions. We have snow. So Pokemon are more likely to get frostbite, and drowsy Pokemon are more likely to fail to act. The speed of Ice-type Pokemon is also boosted. So I think that is really cool, because Ice-type Pokemon need as much help as possible being a threat, because they have so many weaknesses that are common, and they really don't do super effective damage all that often. So if you're facing Avalugg and you're in the snow, you're more likely to get frostbite. Your Pokemon that are drowsy are more likely to sit on their butt, not doing anything, and their speed is increased. Like, Pokemon has really been trying to fix the ice type problem in the last couple of years, and man, oh man, it is really showing with this. Strong sunlight, the speed of grass type Pokemon is boosted. Everybody gets chlorophyll. Look at that. No abilities, no problem. All the grass type Pokemon are going to be super excited about this. I imagine the new Lilligant and Decidueye are going to be very excited about this. So that's very, very interesting. And then Fog, all moves are less accurate, apart from moves that are always sure to hit. So that's pretty straightforward. That's not, groundbreaking, but the strong sunlight making everybody faster and snow, causing those, special burns. That's pretty cool. Field conditions. All right, there's only one new field condition. We talked about it already, the Jagged Splinters. Basically, it's similar to Stealth Rock, but at the end of each turn, the Pokemon is hurt by it. So instead of it being like a switch-in kind of thing, it just does repeated damage every turn, more like a, one of the G-Max moves like Cannonade, things like that, or things like Fire Spin or Wrap, stuff like that. So nothing, too unusual there. And then we see special status conditions. All right, so due to the group, it's safe to assume the following are statuses that occur only during battles with alpha Pokemon. Okay, so Terrific Might. The Pokemon takes reduced damage from status conditions and move effects such as poisoning and splinters. Okay, so Terrific Might, the Pokemon is going to not take a lot of damage. That's going to be a pain in the butt. Wild Might, all the Pokemon stats are boosted. Okay. Why not? The Pokemon also takes reduced damage from status conditions and move effects such as poisoning and splinters. Jeez. All right. So I'm thinking that. Oh, and let's read the next one too. So Terrible Might, all the Pokemon stats are boosted. The Pokemon also takes reduced damage from everything else. So they said that alpha Pokemon were a lot more powerful than, your normal Pokemon that you encounter. I don't think that's because they're actually more powerful in terms of their stats. I think they just have these mites that make them really cracked out and really strong by being so powerful because, Terrific Might doesn't raise the stats, but Wild Might and Terrible Might do. So let's assume for a minute that Wild Might, it says all of its stats are boosted, right? So let's assume that you get the base level of just 1 across the board. Everything is 50% better, which is a lot. That is a very devastatingly powerful thing to have. And then you have Terrible Might on top of that, which I assume has either have to be a lot of reduction or +2s to everything, which I can't even imagine dealing with that thing. So I can now see why they were telling you to make sure you're really careful around the alpha Pokemon, but very, very cool. Very, very interesting to see just how much they've added to this game and how much they are trying to expand kind of what they bring to the table with these new titles. Again, let me know what you're most interested in down in the comments below. Let me know what you think is really interesting. Let me know what status or what, weather condition, whatever you are interested in. And overall, let me know what you think about all these changes. Are you excited they made something so different or you're not? Let me know what you're thinking down below. And again, as soon as we get some more info, we're going to be bringing it to you. So make sure that you guys are keeping your eyes right here on Bridge 4 Games to make sure that you don't miss any of it. So there you have it, everybody. That is everything we have from the DATAMINED so far. Now, I know it's a lot that we covered, but believe it or not, there is going to be a lot more to come because DATAMINEDs always have such incredibly high amounts of information, and we are going to be getting a lot of that as the DATAMINEDs commence. So please make sure that you guys are hitting the notification bell to make sure you never miss our episodes, because anything that comes from the DATAMINED is going to be presented right here for you guys to make sure that you don't miss any details about Pokemon Legends Arceus. So that being said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video, and most importantly, I hope you found it informative and it helps you get a really good idea of everything that's going to be in these games when they do drop next week. That being said, everybody, I've been Blaine for Bridge 4 Games. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. If you did like the video, please make sure that you absolutely Giga impact that like button in the face, and of course, consider subscribing to the channel to become part of our amazing Pokemon community to make sure that you never miss any of the awesome videos like this one. Remember, everybody, that the best Pokemon games are the ones that you love to play and the proper ways to play them however you have the most fun. I hope each and every one of you have a happy, epic, awesome, and amazing day. Get ready to enjoy Pokemon Legends Arceus because it's going to be here very soon, and I will see you in the next video. See you around. Bye-bye.